Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today, we will go through some types of requirements. But before we start, please turn on the subtitles. Do not forget that. And this is also there are some interesting and important concepts are over here in today's session. For software development purpose, and why only software for any product for that matter, that requires architecture, including buildings, there are three types of requirements: business requirements, non-functional requirements, and architecturally significant requirements or ASRs. Business requirements reflect the objectives, the vision, and the goals. In short, the purpose of the product, the why and the what part of it. It defines the scope or the boundary, what needs to be built and what doesn't need to be built. For example, for a building requirement, the architecture should perhaps exclude how the interior of an apartment can be decorated. Similarly, for a software application, let's say an e-commerce web application, the actual working of a payment system can be excluded as that shall be taken care by a third-party payment gateway. However, the integration with the third-party payment gateway should still be part of the system. Typically, any software product helps to start and complete one or more processes for the business. For example, placing order from all cart items in an e-commerce application. Sometimes the definition of data comes from the customer requirements, and in that case, the data itself becomes part of the requirement. For example, when you build a software application for regional transport authority in your country, and if the application allows you to apply and get driving license, it's them who decide what should be printed in the driving license. That's the piece of data. All software applications will have to ensure that the end user's actions are bounded by certain business rules. Have you ever seen any banking application where a 3-year-old can carry out online transaction? Or a computer game where you can actually break the rules? Business requirements come from customer and they are typically laid down by a business analyst or a product owner or the product management team. They may belong to the customer's organization or the organization which is building the software application. Non-functional requirements, at least partially if not fully, comes from the customer. If they are not specified by the customer, then the business analyst and the architect work together to list these down. Either they are derived from, if not specified, or they are presented in the form of concerns and constraints. The most common ones are expressed through various its in English language. I will not go through them or explain each one of them now. We shall cover them in my chapters on architectural quality. But if you are already an engineer working on any product, you may be already aware of most of these terms. Remember this diagram I showed in the beginning today. ASR is surely a type of requirement. However, they originate from both business and non-functional requirements. Imagine a list-making app and the requirements are given below. As an architect, I would assume that this is a simple mobile app with given functionalities which can persist or store data in the mobile itself. Just read through this list of features. But as soon as more requirements are divulged, it occurs to me that it is not as simple. Because now my wife too needs to view and modify the data that I created. It has to be stored somewhere else, perhaps a cloud. So this functional requirement that my wife can view and edit data adds to the list of ASRs. So what are architecturally significant requirements? It is those requirements which impacts the architectural process outcome, and hence the solution design. These ASRs may originate from non-functional requirements, in short NFR. For example, if there is a NFR or non-functional requirement that states that a particular stream of data should be available every millisecond, it can impact the solution design in a significant way. Similarly, a CEO wants his product to have a very specific feature which may or may not have impact on the ASR. Lot of ASRs may generate out of a specific chosen technology, especially if the technology is new. Let's say we are building a customer relationship management application and customers can interact through ChatGPT. What if the connection to the ChatGPT is not available at that moment? How should our system behave? Will there be any alternative? Same goes with QoS SLA. QoS is quality of service, SLA is service level agreement. Suppose the customer wants the system be developed to be up and running 100% of the time, and it is part of the agreement. This too impacts the solution design, especially technology and platform selection, significantly. Finally, as an architect, you may always want to provide an esoteric solution, but the cost of which can be more than the customer can afford. So the architect will also have to keep that in mind. Let's then revise what the architect does. He performs an analysis through the primary and secondary inputs explained in the previous classes and identifies the ASRs. These ASRs then form the core input of solution design through synthesis. Once few alternative solutions called the candidate solutions are in place, they are evaluated to check if they conform to the ASRs or not. If there are requirements other than ASRs, there will be many, of course, that can very well be taken care of during coding phase by the engineers. And all of these three gives us software requirements and input to the engineering team. So, what is software requirement? It contains business and some important technical requirements that support the ASRs. It specifically mentions all NFRs and ASRs. It is usually created by the architects along with the BA or product owners. Software requirements typically break down the entire product in some business process level modules. For example, for an e-commerce application, browse catalog module, search module, cart module, etc. Software requirements specify the what part in great detail and also to some extent the how part. Next coming up, ways to capture requirements. Please do subscribe, like, share if you are benefiting from these sessions. Thank you.